Hello, everybody.
How are you?
I'm okay, mate. How are you?
Taswera zvedu kuri seiko kwenyu kumkoma Wilbert?
It's not too bad.
Summer is around the corner.
Few days.
Summer is around the corner. You know, when you leave home at 7 o'clock and you come back around 6 o'clock and it's still light. There's still light out there. It's better, isn't it, than winter?
It definitely cheers you up.
Right.
Yeah, but this.
Okay. Sezvamunoziva ka Zimbabwe, what's happened is yesterday it was Women's Day, and people were doing all they want to do about remembering what women brings to the party in our life. And tonight we want to talk about women, really. Talk about maybe in Zimbabwe, what role do women play, especially in our politics of Zimbabwe as it is right now. Sekuru, would you like to start to kick off?
I
thought I would catch you, Sekuru, on that.
aparura nyaya yangataure kuti tizive direction yatiri kuenda, because ukatanga ngoti zvevakadzi muZimbabwe zvakawanda.
Do you think women have got...
vamwe vane mapuhwa, vamwe vanopenga, vamwe vanochengeta varume zvakanaka, vamwe zvakawandisa zvevakadzi muZimbabwe zvokuti tikada kungotangira kungoti bvu nyaya yevakadzi muZimbabwe nekuti munezuro yaivo Women's Day, we will have a big problem here. I think we need a guided discussion on this one so that the person who suggested can tell us what they had in mind.
Okay, what about if I say to you, women leading or aspiring to lead in Zimbabwe, is that a good thing?
No, what I'm saying is the topic of women in politics is totally different from Women's Day.
Right. Okay.
So if you want us to discuss about women in politics, we can discuss about women in politics and how they have fared so far, what they have contributed, who has been at the forefront of contributing the benefit of women issues advancement. We can discuss that.
Yes, let's discuss that.
Well, obviously at the top of the rank is Ma'am Juru in terms of contributing for the development of women. You see, one thing that we seem to have already forgotten is that when this ZANU-PF regime that has gone rogue came into power, women were not supposed to, were not entitled to own even land in their own names. They couldn't own anything in their own names. Everything was owned by the males. And she introduced, as Minister of Men's Affairs, she introduced the
we have listened to better music. We have seen better things. We've been to it all. Zimnet Radio, all the way.
To be of age and therefore capable of transacting in her own or his own right. Now, because it was written age of majority, people just forgotten that the aim was to bring on par women and men in terms of transacting. That was a milestone in our politics. For a woman to move that and they win it for every other woman. Then we got right now we've got another woman politician who is showing a class above everybody else. It's Jesma Jome. Jesma Jome is a brilliant fighter for people's rights. Not only women, but for people's rights. If you follow her closely, you find that she represents general sentiment on the ground in many different aspects of life. She has taken up the government on radio licenses. She has taken up the government on a man who was caught on video beating up another girl, and she has asked for the fine or the sentence to be reviewed. She has done several other. She was leading the parliamentary portfolio committee, which was doing a magnificent job during the outreach periods in finding views about amendments to the constitution. So that woman is doing wonders for all of us, but we are not acknowledging it.
Okay.
Then we would like to go back to a certain lady, Anonzi Margaret Dongo. Margaret Dongo was first person to tell us all men that we are Mugabe's wives. And how true has that been proved? Because up to now, very few of us are still capable of even contemplating standing up to him, to the extent that his wife is not in the overall, those three women, I think they stand head and shoulders above most. The rest of the kune vamwe vakadzi vakaita sana mahoka vaya vakaita sana makandita weipi chimene. Those are not supposed to grace. Those are not supposed to be idols of right-thinking women. They are crazy.
Right. Would you go as far as saying that they are crazy, Seku?
Yes, I maintain that they are crazy.
Okay. All right. Thank you so much, Sekuru, for that. Mukoma Tish, what would you like to say about this?
Well, I think Sekuru is right in what he's saying, but I also want to just add that the universal age of suffrage was indeed a liberating point for women in Zimbabwe, because at that time a woman could not even get a national ID without a husband or a father or a guardian uncle. Such was the law. It was skewed against them. It's not only that, she also was able to push through the laws relating to marriages in terms of equity of heritage. What happens when a person dies before that, another will be able to come and take everything, or relatives of the man. She either had to have a choice to garwanaka, which means you'd have to stay and be inherited as part of the property herself. And all that has been changed and has been refined further with the Chapter 511 Marriages Act. So she has done a lot, but that is not only, this is only after independence that one could simply say it was a collective government decision, which she may have spearheaded because she held the portfolio of that ministry. But the fact that she joined the liberation struggle when she was a teenager, when there was no social media to influence her, when there was no money, there were no newspapers in the rural areas, she herself had never traveled outside the Edo Tito area. She went to St. Albert's and to all these Salvation Army schools. But within the spectrum of that confine, she could see that she had to go and fight for the country. And she did, and she went and fought for the country. And she is still a patriotic Zimbabwean, still in the thick of the action of things. To me, that citation should be the bigger part of why she was recognized. The fact that as a teenager, without any media influence or social media, as we are now overly influenced by, but the conviction, similar to the conviction that the other lady in our history, Mbuya Nehanda, could see that and we have to fight for it. And she had that same vivid view of the need for us to fight for our liberation. And I think that is the part that Sekuru was saying, that on that scale nationally, no one can beat it. If you consider that she was just barely 25 when she became a minister, it tells you a lot. A lot of 25-year-olds are in university at the moment. And if you look at it further, you will see that most of them, if they're employed, they're still staying with their parents. Some, haven't done much to be independent. But you consider that she had already joined the war, fought in the war combat fighting, and fought in the war as a civilian women leader and founder of the women's movement or the women's league within ZANU-PF in 1977. Now, if you take 4 years away from 1977, it means she was 21. These are things that sometimes people in the we fail to appreciate how so young she was. My youngest son is 22, finishing university now. Now imagine she was founding the women's wing at 21, and it already attracted the attention of the foremost commander of the Liberation War. At that time, Tongogara was in jail because Chitepa had been killed. So when you look at all those things, you realize how young she was when she got elevated and got the attention of the top leadership of the combat forces at that time. So she is really iconic.
Right, she is really iconic. There's another question that I would like to ask you guys actually, but I want to hear from Mukoma Wilbert first before I ask that question. These women aspiring to be leaders there in Zimbabwe. Mukoma Wilbert, what's your take on this one?
I think people sometimes miss the point here. Maimujuru, just as much as all the other liberation war heroes, did a lot up to independence. But you do not get your sainthood for what you did in the past, but mostly for what you did most recent. She has been in government, this government, for 34 years. And to say that she did not play a role in the destruction of the country, in the imposition of the one-party state, and all the corruption that has gone with it, I think is to miss the point completely. Maimujuru, if we had a proper democratic system, she will be held to account for some of the corruption, some of the innocent blood that was shed during those 34 years that she was in power. We're looking at people, as many as 30,000 people were killed by this ZANU-PF regime. To say it is Mugabe alone, or Mugabe and a few of his fellow men alone, is to miss the point completely. She was a senior member of that regime. And I honestly think we are insulting the victims and the relatives of the victims of the regime's tyrannical rule to say she is to glorify her. I totally disagree with that. And I know she has been in London this last week, and apparently the organization even gave an award. We shouldn't forget that the same British people are the same who gave Mugabe a knighthood when he had blood dripping from his hands from the Gukura wound. So it's the same people who are now, I suppose, in retrospect, giving an award to. But as a Zimbabwean, I cannot accept somebody like that. We cannot accept somebody like that. If this was a democratic country in Zimbabwe, people like Maimujuru will have a lot to answer for. The country is in a mess. We are looking at a situation where 95% are unemployed, where millions are living in total abject poverty because of the corruption and tyrannical rule of the last 35 years or 37 years. And she was part of it. To say we can glorify her and she is suitable to be a leader, I think is to miss the point completely. I totally disagree with that.
You totally disagrey with that. And this is how to say, Guru Namkoma teacher, if you got anything to say, Namkoma Wilbert is very passionate about that.
I totally teach you.
Okay, Sekuru Tanga Namkoma teacher also people.
Goes in the Kubato Kwake Kwatichu. in my issues and my achievements women in the advancement of women's rights. I am not looking at the issues in terms of the men-women advancement. I'm looking at the issue of my women I kind of contribute immensely to the lives of our women folk in Zimbabwe. And you can have any misgivings, like I've got several misgivings about her, but I cannot discount her achievements because of the misgivings. I can credit her with the misgivings and slam her for the issues that she failed on. But zvinotawana Wilbert Mukori zvekuzoti haafani kuita leadership and things like that. That is a personal issue. In politics, hapana munhu ari as clean as Wilbert would like to make them. Even in the most democratic of his institutions, anoziva, the people there have been found wanting on many issues. They may not have killed somebody, they may not have ordered the death of somebody, but they have wronged a lot of other people. So if we then have to use that yardstick, kuti wakangoita chinotikwata chete haafani kutungamira, then we have no leader at all no women leader or no men leader in society at all, because hapana ari squeaky clean.
Aiwa, ndatenda zvangu sekuru nekuanza kwamaita mukoma teach. You want to say something?
I actually wanted to agree na mukoma Wilbert kuti in a democratic society or country as it were, the people would make their final choices as to who will lead them. The only unfortunate part is then to forget that in that event, then Nigeria has every right to canvass for support. Whether she'll get it or not is up to the electorate. It's not up to Nkoma Wilbert's personal opinion. Whilst I respect his personal opinion and his foundation, that is his absolute democratic right, but he doesn't speak for everyone else. Because I support Dr. Mju and loads of people support her. On Saturday she will be in Leicester and loads of people are going to turn up. So there is a clear democratic process going on there that one man's meat is another man's poison. And Nkoma Wilbert spoke emotionally and with conviction as to what he believes. But we are talking about her role, what she has done in those years, whether she was part of this corrupt and contaminated toxic political structure that Mugabe has been leading, is neither here nor there. We're just talking about the women in Zimbabwe. What have they done? I would have expected someone to say, there were other people that were supporting their husbands, people like Julia Shoko, people like Victoria Chiteko, people like Ruth Chinaman, who in their own right became politicians as well. So that's the kind of conversation I thought we were going to have about what women actually, then eventually come to the Itai Dzamara, which are the more contemporary kind. So I thought we're progressively looking at what women have done, not to be like, okay, what has this one done and not done? But we're saying this is what she has done. It's a fact. We're not making it up. Well, that's a true history, and that's a contribution to the rise of women on the national leadership stage. Whether there were issues to do with her or not, is neither here nor there. But she's the platform and stepping stone from which the Maheres are now taking it further and going forward with it. You now have people like Beatrice Mtetwa, a foremost legal mind that is there in the country. All these things are paved by people that do things. If you look into the West, where we're enjoying all these freedoms and talking as we please and using all this technology, they went through paganism, and they went through feudalism, and they went through colonization, and they went to empire building, and they were conquests and murders, not on any scale close to anything that way. We are talking about total mayhem. So when you look at how the Roman Empire conquered the world at the time, it was total mayhem. It was military force. It was not the kind of colonization where we first did the missionaries and then the BSAP. No. These were fair, war to war. And right now we still talk about world war, but there's never been a world war. These are wars of Europe, feudalism. We talk about Israel right now. Israel was created because the Europeans were anti-Semitic. They didn't want Jews. They ended up having to found a state to get rid of them, because it was not in one country, Germany, where anti-Jewish sentiment was. It was everywhere. So ended up with a situation where the Jewish state had to be created, because they resented the Jews' ability to make money and to put things together for themselves as a community. So the issues that we are talking about is the stepping stones of the leadership of women in Zimbabwe. We're not talking about the purity of it, or being saints or not saints, but we're saying, how far have the women come? Where are they now? In terms of the theme of International Women's Day, because I really wanted to eventually talk about the Maheres and others later, but that was the build-up.
Okay, right. Okay,
on that, DJ.
Okay, please respond.
Yeah, I think again it is important that if we're going to have a meaningful discussion, we honestly don't be selective in our remembrance of what happened in the past. Like I said, we are talking here of a nation that is in total economic chaos. And if you look at a society like ours, when there is so much poverty, those at the bottom of the economic ladder are the ones who suffer the most. In other words, in this particular case, women and girl children are the ones who are suffering the brunt of the economic meltdown because of the years of corruption and mismanagement and tyranny. And we cannot deny Kuti the regime was responsible for it, and that she was an integral part of that regime. That is the point we are talking about here. To start saying Kuti, we've got to isolate the laws she passed for that liberated women. Yes, those are important.
Okay.
But in this particular case, we cannot look at it as if those laws can be looked at in isolation of what also happened in the rest of the country.
Okay. Mukoma, regarding Botinini, let's not include Maimujuru, for example. Are there any women out there in Zimbabwe, or our fellow mothers, sisters, and whatever, that are doing well to raise up the girl children and the women of our country? Let's subtract Maimujuru there. Are there any women that you look up to and say, actually, I want my daughter to look up to this woman and say, actually, only the sky is limit for me, even if I'm a woman?
Are you asking me that?
Yes, I'm asking you that.
Well, I think there are a lot of women who have done a wonderful job.
Could you name it?
Mtekwa is one of them. And one of our panelists here, Nomazulu, I think she is doing a lot of really good work. Some of these women, they are not always in the limelight, but they are doing wonderful work. They may not be praised, they may not be in the papers, but they are doing wonderful work. And those are the people. And there's a lot of also nuns in Zimbabwe. I know I've been involved in Roman Catholic churches. We are doing a wonderful job. I've been to some of the hospitals in Zimbabwe with female doctors who have given up staying in towns, and they're working in the rural areas in the hospitals among the poorest of the poor. We are not covering them. They're not praised, but they are the ones who are really at the core face, and they're doing a lot of wonderful work. And I think that is the people, I would say, if they were given the opportunity, they would do even a lot more than they are doing. With the limited resources they have, they've achieved a lot.
Okay, right. Thank you so much. Back after this.
Make the whole world know about your business. Advertise with Zimnet Radio. Email marketing@zimnetradio.com. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the top. I'm your DJ.
things. It's a men's culture with yours truly, DJ Sodza. Join DJ Sodza and his informative team live every Thursday at 9 p.m. UK time, discussing Zimbabwean politics.
Okay, all right, I don't want to waste a lot of time playing music because tanonoka chirongwa. Guys, I just wanted to divert a little bit. I know mukoma teach mamuruta ranetsa anafadzi mahere there. I mean, let's talk about politics of Zimbabwe. How are women getting involved with politics of Zimbabwe? And are there any women out there that are in Zimbabwean politics as we speak now? When I say Zimbabwean politics, I'm talking even some of the journalists that are coming up, and interview these people and put them to task, if you like, and for people to hear what these guys have to say about it. Are there any women out there that are doing great job that you want to talk about, Seguru?
As far as I'm concerned, there is a number of women that are doing a perfectly wonderful job. Some of them are surprising in the terms of their entrepreneurship, political entrepreneurship, because they are disadvantaged from home to the political field, to the workplace, but they still stand head and shoulders above the men. I was listening to teach citing a person like Mutetwa, the legal practitioner. If you look at that woman, you would think she's a very simple woman, but she's not, because her achievements dwarf any other man's achievements in the legal fraternity, for the simple reason that she is already in a disadvantaged position from the home, but she's achieving what the men with all the advantages are failing to achieve. I've also pointed my finger at Dzamara because I really admire that woman, because she does things that I think are more beneficial to the families of people and to people in general than most women do. If you then go into society itself, you find that most of the families are held together by women. So in that respect, we should give them a big pum-pum, because we can't do politics without somebody holding the center together, and it is mainly the women who are holding it together. But as far as this topic is concerned, I thought we need to demarcate how far we should go with the people we think are doing a marvelous job politically, or the people we think should deserve a mention. Well, if we then look at ranks of motherhood, every mother is a hero, because just raising a family is a big task on its own. So every mother becomes a hero in that respect. Now we can't finish discussing such a wide topic.
No,
I thought we were going to concentrate on those people that have had a national impact.
That's what I want to talk about now. That's exactly what I've said. Those who have had a national impact and who are continuing to have a national impact. As a woman, we don't want to talk about men today. We are dedicating it to the ladies. What are they doing? Because I've got a 3-year-old daughter here. Who are the people that she can look up to politically and say, actually, when I grow up, I want to be the president of Zimbabwe? Why not?
So in that respect, then we have to bring back Ma'am Juru, because at the present moment, Ma'am Juru, my Tokozani Kupe, my unonzani go People's Party yake unonzani
Okay, Barbara.
Barbara Nyagomo.
Christina Misairambu.
Na Nigirina Chikasha. You see, these are women that are defying the odds. The odds are stacked against them, but they are just walking through all the hurdles. And you must give them credit for that, because it's not easy.
Right. Okay. Thank you. Mukoma, teach what you want to say about that.
There is much more than the women that we are mentioning, because even in the UPF, there are women that are pushing the envelope in terms of politics and the desire to lead the country, including Resemuka. In terms of the women's movement, Zimbabwe women are on the forefront of wanting to participate and to lead in the political leadership. So the issue then becomes, obviously, as my brother Wilbert will say, what is the quality of these women that are pushing the envelope? Do they have what it takes to go there? But what we cannot deny is the fact that women now have as equal an opportunity as everyone else to participate and canvass for support. Whether they will get it and sustain it is neither here nor there. But the point is, in terms of the theme of this week of women on the global leadership stage, we do have quite a lot of women leading. And that brings me to my favorite young woman at the moment, which is Advocate Mahele. She speaks her mind, faces a lot of conspiracy theories as a problem that we have from the toxic era of the Mugabe era. Zimbabwe always faces conspiracy theories, either you're a ZANU-PF stooge or you're a puppet of the West. It's never ending. You know, no one will ever come out clean in Zimbabwe politics. So women have just to learn to ignore all that noise and keep pushing the envelope. And for us who are in National People's Party of Dr. Mijuru, that's exactly what we're saying, that there will be dictators, there will be those that are passionately against you. But it doesn't make them majority, it just makes them more louder about their maybe disapproval or their resentment of you. But there are others that really are passionately believe in you, as some of us do. So women just have to appreciate that reality, that it's a minefield. Men have been in it a long time. But what happens most of the time in Zimbabwe is that women become discouraged. Women don't want to be dragged in the mud. They don't want their reputation to be soiled. So sometimes they end up moving away, or they're afraid to lose their husbands or their partner or their prospect with marriage. So there are challenges that women face that women themselves will have to fight to overcome. It is in that spirit that I'm sure Segur and I were talking about what Dr. Mjiru did in terms of the Marriages Act, in terms of the universal suffrage. You know, that these are baby steps that have to be taken. Women cannot just expect to just be there and be able to just be doing whatever they do. They have to go through these baby steps. They have to go through misogynic type of attitudes by men, and even male chauvinism as well. So they have to handle all that. They have to overcome it. And that's what part of this movement is about, is that which women are making those baby steps happen. If you look at Tafazo, the way she handled the return of Pastor E, it is absolutely amazing, because she really put herself on the line. He was detained and she was sitting there waiting for them to let him go, to make sure that he enjoys his constitutional right. And she's got the right training as an advocate, trained at Cambridge, and gone back home and made sure that she passes the bar and is a registered legal practitioner with her own law chambers. And she's so young. No other lawyer went to the airport and waited for Pastor E all the way until his legal processes were done. And that is a woman. But there were many, many men that were supporting this flag. There were many lawyers that wanted to be associated with it when he was detained the first time before he left the country. They didn't show up this time around. When the magistrate asked who is representing Evans Mawari the first time, more than 100 lawyers stood up to say they're representing him. And outside, a whole shebang of young men were singing and dancing, carrying their flag. This time around, it was simply Advocate Mahere on her own. So you have an evolution of women coming to terms with themselves and understanding that they have to fight. If you look at people like the Marcelina Chikashas and the PTZ, you will see there may be baby steps, but they're paving the way, because in the same way that others before them paved the way, as I named all those other women that were there in thick and thin, people like Fei Chung, who were actually combatants and became teachers in the liberation struggle. And if you look at it from the fact that she was a minority Chinese in Rhodesia, she was born and bred in Rhodesia. A lot of people think Fei Chung is Chinese. She's actually Zimbabwean 100%. But she left Rhodesia to go and join the liberation struggle. You understand? There was no other connection other than her understanding that the racial discrimination laws that were in the country needed to be fought. Her father was running a restaurant in Harare CBD, but she left all that to go and join the war. So when you look at that, there is a lot of iconic women that have paved the way, that these young women that are now in the seat or in the hot seat can look up to, and they've looked up to. If you look at backwards and you look at people like Dr. Liwatiwa, you will see that these are people that went abroad, got studying, and when independence came, they were part of the men retaining exiles that were technocrats, that were coming to take over positions in government. And if you look at it, you will see that that government was composed of people who were highly experienced, coming from the diaspora. And it is said, when you hear Mugabe trying to denigrate the diaspora, when his entire cabinet was based on people that were returning from the diaspora, people like Didmus Ntaza, they used to live in Birmingham. So when you look at it, you then realize that a lot of people go abroad, improve themselves, get the knowledge that they want, bring it home, and change things. It's a process. It has taken these other countries that we are talking about hundreds of years. If you look at America, it went through slavery. It went through the genocide of almost the entire population of Red Indians to be what it is today. When we talk about the United States, we forget where they've come from. So our women have to go through all this refinement themselves, and they're emerging and doing things that are out of this world. If you look at the number of CEOs of top companies in Zimbabwe that are women, it's a very big, significant number. Right. You see? So they don't hog the limelight, but they're leading major corporate bodies. They're doing very well. Just recently, with this 14-year-old that turned up at university, who recently graduated, now is an 18-year-old kid, coming from a very
modest family.
Very, very modest, if not underprivileged.
Not very poor.
Yeah, but she went and did it. So women are well inspired and are inspiring each other and inspiring themselves. I think they're doing very well. If you look again, another issue is women have taken to doing a lot of charity projects. Even Marikuno, he was talking about Nomazu. They're appreciating that they have a role to play. Even when they are collecting clothes, sending them home, collecting medicines, sending them home, collecting things like blood pressure testing kits to send home, to ensure that even outlying rural district hospitals from wherever they come from are equipped and have got the basic necessities to provide the primary health care. And when you look at that, you realize that women are coming to terms with themselves in terms of the women's movement in Zimbabwe. That's how I see it.
That's how you see it. Okay, thank you so much. Mkoma Wilbert, I know you're dying to say something there. Can I put the same question to you? These women that are the early women that are prominent in our political arena, who are aspiring to lead, and out there. I know you say Maimu Juri is out of the question now.
I would answer it slightly differently. I would say, even if you were to extend it to name men who have been outstanding in our political arena, the answer is I would find it very difficult to name anybody. I think the main problem we have is our political system. The political system is so corrupt that you will find that most people who are getting involved in politics have got nothing to offer or are corrupt, and they are only there for their own gain, which is most unfortunate, because I honestly think we are wasting a lot of really good talent out there, not only among women, among men as well, where if we opened up and did a proper democratic system, you'll be amazed. I honestly believe Zimbabwe has got a lot of talented people who can run that country and make it a great success. And like I said, even among the women as well, I have met women whom you can see if they had the resources, if they had the opportunity, they could do a lot more than they are doing. In the present situation, even businessmen, okay, you've got the isolated individuals like Mama Siwa and so forth who have been successful, but how many other businesses in Zimbabwe are successful? When you're looking at a country with unemployment of 95%, that tells you that business is not, it's not possible to do good business in Zimbabwe. That is what we are talking about here. So in this particular case, I honestly think with opening up the democratic system will allow quality men and women to really shine and make a good contribution to the good of not only their families but the entire nation. And that is what we should be looking at. We should be looking at opening up the democratic system and allow talent to rise. Whereas at the present moment, we have not allowed talent to rise. We have allowed scam to rise. That is the problem.
Okay, right. Okay. Vamoyo kana makateerera, try and call us. It is saying that you cannot join because your Skype is outdated. You need to download a new version. I know makutonditaurira mashoko akaipa chaizvo kuseri kuti hanzi ndiri kuita mafavor and all that, but it's not that. You know it's not that. I don't do those kind of things. I want to hear what you have to say. Right. Okay, back after.
I think you will better any problem yokuti unofunga kuti pane munhu ari squeaky clean.
Okay.
Achazomuka from somewhere like Jesus. You see, the problem is he has just quoted Strive Masiwa. But if I was to tell you I have lost 20 years of my life because of Strive Masiwa, would you agree?
I mean, I'm not saying anybody is speaking clean. All I'm saying is, if the economy was opened up, you will find there will be a lot more people who are successful, just as successful as Strike Masiwa. I'm not saying he is clean, that's why he's successful. I never said that. In fact, in the present environment where there's so much corruption, it is very hard to see anybody who has not maybe been involved in some of the corrupt activities.
But then, do you know what? Even Jesus Christ, he was accused of the same things that you are accusing politicians. He was actually brought before Pontius Pilate for trial. Politics. So politics itself does not produce squeaky clean people, because as it's just like that. I
think Sekuru, you have crossed the line there. Are you trying to tell me Jesus was not squeaky clean?
Well, he was not. He was not according to the Pharisees. He was not according to the scribes. He was not.
Yeah, but there's a difference between being falsely accused and being guilty or something. If we are going to say there's no corruption in Zimbabwe, then we are talking of a totally different Zimbabwe than I know.
No, Wilbert, I have been at the forefront of saying there is rampant corruption in Zimbabwe. We need to stem it up. I totally agree with your sentiment. But there are certain topics that you discuss, my achievements they want, as opposed to their negatives. When we do that, can we be objective enough and give credit where credit is due? Because most of the time kachii news dzonakidza chadzo ndedzekuti tisilame vanhu ava vanoda kutungamira, tivatuke, tivabudise zvitadzo zvavo zvese vapidze.
I think Sekuru, I can only give you an interesting comparison to that. If you ever watched the movie Cry Freedom, there is a point where the Denzel Washington acting Steve Biko says, he's asked in court, are you saying the whites have never done anything right? He said they have done a lot of things that are right, but they've done a lot more things that are bad. So if we're going to talk about the good things and forget of all the bad things they've done, we've missed the point.
No, we haven't forgotten.
Even if a murderer has helped an old lady cross the street. But if we're going to say, we're going to talk about how he helped an old lady cross the street and forget about the murder he committed, those are two different things. You cannot compare the two.
Right. Okay. Someone is sending me a message. Panapa Kwanziko DJ. I was on Women's Day. I was expecting Maim Juru to mention Linda Masarira and how she is being persecuted by Mugabe men because she speaks up. But to my surprise, she spoke of herself only. Right. Regarding today, so we'll be back after this short musical break.
I kudaro ndinorwadziwa neropa rinode ukanguva dzose dzatinenge tarwisana.
Right, azvisinei wamoyo maswera sei?
Taswera sei?
Taswera zvedu makateerera usero?
Ndakateerera hangu seri ndichinzwa vamwe vachitaura.
Oh, okay. Saka mafunga kuti tiwabate mutibatsirewo bijani.
Yeah. Just a little bit since vamwe vachibva vakatwa, saka I will make it hangu brief.
Oh,
yeah, I think your topic is very, very important and it's a good one. Only that it is now being narrowed down to very shallow politics. It is a very broad topic. When you talk of the role of women, there are many more outside the me and my Mujurus and what have you who probably don't have even much to talk to talk about them. To talk about women's league joining she's not the only one who joined the war at that time anyway. So
who else? No. Who else joined?
No, vakawanda vanatsikwinya veka iye madhodongo nanatsikwinya vanga vaine makore mangani. Okay. Yeah, ndati vana madhodongo nanatsikwinya pavakajoina unenge vanga vaine makore mangani. Rini vanga vaine makore mangani?
It doesn't matter.
Handitika.
No, you see.
Okay.
You just
no, we have heard your side of the story. We have heard your side of the story. No, handina kuvunza ka. Komunokopindira ndisina kuvunza. Aiwa handina kuvunza kamukoma ko munokopindira ndisina kuvunza. Nditaura pfungwa dzangu chete.
Matite has been reduced to shallow nesimabva matanga nekunyepa.
Aiwa handisi kunyepa cheke nditaura pfungwa dzangu.
Okay, alright. Regai ndikubate muromo. Mukoma chichi. Okay, hold on. Mukoma chichi chichanyepa.
Hanzizo kune vamwe vakajena hondo at the same time namujuru.
Okay. Vamoyo, can you name the women that are here now that joined the war na mamujuru?
Kunyange vakafa.
I didn't say at the same time that vakajena vari vadiki using the same method because mujuru yanga isiri cut off point hapana time yekunzi time yakati ndo yekutanga ndikupesera there was nothing like that. So hapana pioneer pa I mean, do you think vamwe vakazojena because mujuru akanga ako vakazviendera vega vasati kuziva kuti
akanga aveko as a combatant.
In fact mujuru was actually trained by other female combatants vakanga vako kuti akatraina mujuru jena akatraina mujuru. No, mukoma Sodza tisabve kutopic kana topic this is out of topic. No, if you want we can go back to it later. Tangaura kuti mujuru chaenzira yake akafamba ndeipi zvakatanga sei kusvika pano. We can follow that, we know it.
Okay, all right. Okay, regai ndikubate muromo. Let's finish it. Saka vamoyo muri kuti mujuru was not the first combatant to be there. Mune vanhu here vakatangira mujuru, mune vanhu here vakatangira mai mujuru that you can name us.
They are liberation war names ndo ndakukanganwa zvino, but I will remember them, I will tell you.
Okay.
Because Mujuru was trained by a female trainer, meaning vanga vatoko kare. I will give you my names. I know them. I will give you my names.
You know, if you can't, but you are able to remember Mujuru and you can't remember your trainers. They are iconic.
No, there are too many. There are so many people whom we cannot remember now because we have not been engaging them for a long time.
How do you know them? If you don't remember them, how do you know them then?
No, knowing and remembering, they are two different things. That you know, cannot remember. Well, that is up to you. That is your own thing.
Hatred knows no bounds.
All right.
No,
okay.
I hate who?
No,
I don't hate any.
You can't even come up with a proper argument. That's a shame.
No, that is your opinion.
You can't operate on conjecture, Vamoyo. Just name your stuff to
yeah, in the same manner that you are also trying to operate on the same.
I'm naming names and periods.
In fact, the role of Women's League during the Liberation War was very minimal. It was negligible. What about No, I am saying they were there already trenches. They were fine. They were soldiers. Trainers.
Soldiers. I mean, what is your argument? Right now you're being misogynic, making it like women were useless.
No, I'm not saying women were useless. I'm saying they were soldiers. How can you say soldier was useless?
What's the difference?
That's why I'm saying the role of Women's League was almost negligible because all people were the same.
It can't be negligible because they were pioneers, dear. There were no other women combatants before them.
The guy This
guy wants to lie on radio.
No, it's a
okay. Vamoyo batai sekuru semunhu mukuru sekuru tibatsire bija.
Right. Imi vakomana mimi mese muri right. Samuri right kudaro. Nyaya yatiri kutaura ndeyekuti madzimai edu muZimbabwe vari kubudirira here mberi vachienda mberi nenyaya yepolitical environment yedu kuti idevelop in favor of the women so that the women will be as prominent as the men.
Oh, thank you sekuru kutidzora mugwara.
So izvi zvekuti ningi wakatangira ningi zvakangonaka kuzvitaura topfuura hedu asi ngatisakanganwa musoro wenyaya.
Vamoyo chiendererai mberi mataurirwa nasei.
This is what I was saying all along mukoma Sodza. Kuti no takusiyana nenyaya panapa handei pamusoro wenyaya. This is what I was saying all along. And it remained bogged down in his yeah, okay. No, what I wanted to say is that there are many women who have actually contributed in very significant ways to our nationhood. I'm even looking at even youngsters like Kirsty Coventry. Her contribution is immense.
Yes.
We have many other women who have also done great things. Sorry?
The mighty warriors.
Yeah, but there are some of them. Yes, those are some of them. But when you look at people like Josie Mahachi, for example, and some of the young ladies who are actually in the UK who have started projects like those ones of calling home and all that. I mean, we are looking at people who have done great things, but we tend to narrow down on useless things. I mean, just attacking Mugabe or attacking Changirai does not make somebody great. It does not make. In fact, this is.
Are you going to mention iconic women, or you are going to reduce it to your hatred?
No, hatred of who? I don't hate anybody. I simply say things. I don't hate
a good leader in Zimbabwe.
Oh, okay, I get my examples like Kirsty Coventry, for example. The mighty warriors that we have mentioned. Those ones have done. I mean, these are the ladies who are these are the ladies. I mean, these are some of the people that we should be talking about and celebrating. Not somebody simply because of politics, they hate. In fact, all these, rabble rousers who have been shouting about politics, is simply a politics of hatred, which is what we have specialized in, particularly Zimbabwean.
I think Moyo, you have got to accept, Kuti, you may have your own opinion about President Coventry. I agree with you, she has achieved a lot. But I also agree that Nenkiri Mutethwa has shown a lot of courage and good consistency. You may not like what she did, but I like it. You know, and I mean,
she has won a lot of legal arguments in the in all the courts of Zimbabwe, from magisterial to the high courts. She has done very well as a legal practitioner representing high-profile cases for her clients.
Was she not the first to lead the Law Society?
She is the first woman president of the Law Society, is correct, Segur?
Yeah. In that regard, yes, but the high-profile case, Fange.
Dzakawanda tingadzitaura dzatsvangirai.
Just one was right. Don't go Fange.
In the various other corporate cases and various other criminal cases.
Ndiamuri kutaura kuti anoataka tsvangirai. Point amotaura kuti munhu anoataka tsvangirai nemunhu anoti ataka Mugabe. Kana kuti anorumbidza tsvangirai nokurumbidza Mugabe. Don't metaka. You are very wrong. You are very wrong because these people do not just represent themselves. They also represent the political systems that we are living under. So an attack on them is an attack on the system that they lead. Saka kana uchigadzirisa zvinhu zvavari kuresva haunganzi hausi kuita something chiri right.
No, in any case, what matters to me most is the electoral outcome, which is where the people actually have their say. This is what we want. As
the woman nebhara akaenda kunovhota because hero kayoyo nondo electoral ndonobudisa outcome ka
ukaita sei
anoenda anoiswa mubhara onovhota. Do you want us to discuss that at that level yokuti because what is my electoral outcomes ndo the most important to you, so anovhota ndo the most important people to you. Now when we say that munhu unoenda unovhota ari mubhara onosvika onoisa x yake panawaada ndio hero yatingafanira kudiscussa hereko zvino.
Akupinda mubhara hapana uhiro kauripo musekuru.
Okay. Yeah. Okay, Mkoma, teach what you want to say?
I just wanted to say, before we get too lost, I wanted to talk about these corporate leaders in Zimbabwe who are leading my major corporations. You know, if you look at Telecel right now, in a female CEO, and ukatarisa major organizations akaita fanga na Women's Africa dzakaitwa founded nana Dr. Hope Sodza. These are women that are training other women to become top leaders. If you look at a person like CEO of Kingdom Financial Holdings and Mkono Ishuru and Aline Mkono Ishuru, there's so many prominent women right now who are holding top positions of the corporate ladders in Zimbabwe. Even if you look at the University of Zimbabwe right now, you've got people like Charity Manyeruke that have become deans and professors, you know. And this recent one, Akashaya Manje, where Zimbabwe Open University is so, he said there are many women that have come now and they've really put Zimbabwe on the map and they're doing wonderful things. So these are the things that we need to be celebrating in the theme of today, then going back to our usual political arguments.
Okay. Thank you so much. Mukoma Ulpet, anything you want to say?
Yeah, no, I think I agree with that. We do have a lot of women who have shown talent and dedication and commitment to something they believe in, and that is something to celebrate. And like I said, I think I still go back to my original emphasis that if Zimbabwe was a democratic nation, I think would see a lot more talent among our women, and we'll also have an opportunity for a lot of our women, particularly girl children, to really do something with their lives. Because right now, if the economy is so, the education system has collapsed, the economy is doing so badly, you find a lot of girl children are not going to school. Or this kind of school they will be going to is such a poor quality school that their talent will never come out. And that is most unfortunate. Because if we had taken off from 1980, where the quality of education we had then, and build on it, I honestly think it will have a lot of really people who will all be proud of.
But Mkoma Sodza, when Mkoma will talk like that, in fact, in another program, there was another lady. She used to go by the name Sister Kanye, and she said in her research, in the research that she did, she found out that Zimbabwean women were the most educated and the most liberated. I think she said she almost said in the world, I think, in the world, in terms of liberation and education. And when we talk of democracy, which I think most of us, we only know the spelling and not the meaning, I wonder, what has this to do with women as advancement? What democracy is that? And what is it that women are not allowed to do by this assumed democratic dispensation that this gentleman is talking about?
Well, I can answer that. I think, for instance, even within the limitations of the ZANU-PF autocracy, what happened to Mai Mujuru in 2014, that is the epitome of an undemocratic system. Mai Mujuru had 8 out of the 10 provinces. She was set to win the Congress, the elective Congress. And what Mugabe did was change the rules, accuse her of attempting to assassinate him. And none of that evidence was ever produced, just to get her out of the way. What kind of a democratic system is that? You will not know the meaning of democracy.
That is an internal structure of a single political party called ZANU-PF. And by nature, political parties are voluntary organizations. And this is not where the democracy of the country is measured by. Okay. And she has now formed her own party, and she will exercise that democracy now that you are talking about, if at all there is anything to talk about.
I'm afraid yes, now if a political organization like ZANU-PF Mkoma Moyo fails in democratic principles, and you say it's a non-issue because it's internal, really?
In any case, the people of Zimbabwe are paying ZANU-PF. Politicians are being paid by the taxpayer. And therefore, then the people, when they pay for something, they expect something that is transparent and democratic. And in any case, it's not limited to just ZANU-PF rigging ZANU-PF elections. He rigs national elections as well. Just because you don't want to see it more, doesn't mean it's not there.
I think we'll continue digressing from the original topic.
Continue digressing.
Yema rigging elections is now sounding like a broken record, which is only being repeated in fits and starts, and no evidence has ever been provided. So why do we keep on bringing it? But the issue still remains. The issue
evidence. Mukumbira Mkoma Sodza vaite program yerigging tikupe evidence.
Munomboda kumboti paitwa program ise mupublic mutoone eri Mkoma Itai Taurai now, I know you don't deal with me. In and vote
you are the one who is trying to deal with me. You are the one who is lying blatantly on radio.
Okay.
Oh, right. Saka it's an arrangement. I'm not gonna quit and I'm gonna or then more ita program. Yacho more producer evidence. Well and good. No, in fact, all along, if you have been following, all along, I was demanding this evidence right from 2013 to today. I'm still demanding.
Okay.
Not me.
No, from whoever has actually come up with this, which is now given.
Whoever, man, you need to be naming names. I said you never asked me.
All right. Okay.
I mean, what? In the first place, why would I ask you as an individual?
Vamoyo na Mkoma Tishi Shimbomirai. I have been listening to what you are saying. Vamoyo is saying you want to rigging evidence, and Mkoma Tishi is saying you are happy to provide that, but we can't do that today. We'll have to arrange it.
Yeah, no, we can't.
Yeah, we'd have to arrange a day for that. It's 4 minutes after midnight here. But I just want to ask you, Mkomatichi. Mkomatichi, it's 2 years since Itai Dzamara disappeared from the scenes. Have you got any words you want to say about that?
The problem at the moment is that it looks like everyone has given up on him ever being found alive.
Yeah.
And that is said. I was looking at the videos that some of my friends who attended the commemorations of his disappearance, and his mom was in tears. And I'm just saying to myself, this is exactly what Mkoma Wilbert is trying to talk about, the lack of democratic space within the country that is holding us back, because the environment is completely toxic. And when people are just going to be disappearing like this, it just like intimidates everyone. It's an act of terrorism, what has happened to Dzamara. And there has to be accountability for it as we go forward. And it has to be fully investigated and evidence provided. And if there's anyone who knows anything, people will have to be prosecuted at some point in the future. It can't be allowed to just go unchallenged.
Mkomatichi, inini, I don't know. As you know, I follow football a lot. When I came to the UK 17, 18 years ago, I didn't know there was this Hillsborough thing that happened. I don't know if you know about it.
Oh, that disaster, yeah.
That disaster, but it only, the inquest was done, was it 2-3 years ago now? But, it happened.
And after a lot of police officers had covered up evidence and all that.
Yes, but that's what I want to see happening to Dzamara, where something comes up and we have a definitive answer of what actually happened there. But it looks like everyone has forgotten about it. And, to see his mom crying like that, it broke my heart. But you just think maybe one day.
Terrible. I never thought I'd be affected by it. And you could see that old woman was genuinely crying for her son, and she's at a loss. She's just at a loss. She wasn't like complaining. She's just letting go.
Regarding Boku reminder something. Vana vadokta tichaende pevasaya vakaenda kunyanga kuholiday. They disappeared completely. Up to now, nobody knows what happened to them. Before that, Dr. Edson Story, vakangonyangarika. Nobody has done anything about it. And we say we have got a democratic government.
Wamoyo will tell you that. Wamoyo will tell you that we've got a fantastic democratic government in Zimbabwe.
Tapeza izozo vana rashiwe gusha. They melted. Kungonyangarika kuti wa. Tozonga vana shiri huru. Vakangozofa haumbozi kuti akafa sei. After the angonemiwa kungodzi ari involved ninyaya yarashiwe gusha ya. So these things ndo pandoti kuna Wilbert kana tichitaura zvinhu. Let's not forget these things. Zvakaitika, but mukana wacho kuti zviadresa hakuna a squeaky politician, squeaky politician. But surely zvakaita sa Edson Story, ZANU-PF should be having a real big interest in his disappearance, to the extent that ingati yakata noise imwe isingatomboiti, but they didn't. Now, what do we suspect of ZANU-PF then?
But okay, Sakuru, let's go back to Itai Dzamara. Really, what's your thought on it? It's 2 years now. Any words you want to say?
Itai Dzamara was my Facebook friend, was my personal friend. I was per Facebook, not just per Facebook, but in life. Yeah. I sat and drank with him. So it pains me. Ndikakupamba messages mamwe atainyorerana unotoshamisika kuti zizvi aimboitika apa. Mwana mudiki kwandiri zvikuru asi aingotirira seshamwari yake, just like any other friend of his. It's so painful for people to know kuti kune hama yedu isingazikani kuti yakafa here kuti yakaenda kupi kakuti zvakaitika chii. Hakuna chinhu chiri as painful as that. Saka foreclosure yacho kwandiri nini hazvigoni kuforeclosika kusvika ndafa unless I hear exactly what happened to him.
Okay. Vamoyo.
Changamire wangu.
Yeah, any words you want to say? It's 2 years now since Dzamara disappeared. Nobody knows whether he's dead, whether he's alive, and you see Mayowake crying like that. Any sympathy at all for them?
Mugoma, there is nothing so heart-rending as seeing situations where people use people's lives for personal mileage or for personal gains. That is wrong. It's so wrong. You know, it shows total disregard of human life and humanity. Yeah, and it's something that must never be accepted. But I usually try to desist from talking about individuals like these for quite a number of reasons. Looking at it very closely, I mean, this is my own personal opinion and view of the whole thing. Firstly, Itai Dzamara was conducting a solo act. He was a one-man act. And I think, in my view, he posed no threat to anybody. Not even to his family. He was not a threat to anyone. Not even to the state. Not to anybody. I'm not trying to trivialize him. I'm not saying that. But I'm saying for a person to try and pose a threat, he must have amassed a certain amount of capability or capacity, which I think, in my personal assessment and view, he did not. And therefore, for him to attract attention from either the state or anyone, it could be some individuals who may have wanted to benefit from it, you know. And I'm not exonerating the state. I'm not saying that. But what I'm saying is, he had no followers, not even from MDC. He was alone. He was one man. And one man could not threaten definitely the state. That is not possible. But then what happened is, you know, it's a mixed bag. It's quite interesting. Even the events that happened after his abduction, he was abducted. That is one thing for sure. Because people came, took him from a barber shop. But the events that followed after that, it's so confusing to say what is the normal thing that normally happens, and what happened in this instance, and why. You know, there are quite a few questions that need to be answered in terms of what happened thereafter. I don't know if you would want some of the questions now.
Now, what's your gut feeling, Mukoma? You've explained that this was a man who had no threat to the regime, who had no threat to anybody. So you find it difficult that someone can abduct someone who is basically a Sodza that's just walking in the street, right? So basically he had no threat to anybody. So what's your gut feeling, Mukoma? Because people are still very much in pain here.
Yes. You know, I may, although the state could be involved, because we have overzealous people within the state machinery. They are there. Because it's made of thousands of people, and you cannot expect thousands of angels. Some of them have been found cattle rustling, some of them being armed robbers and what have you. So we actually have improper elements within the state machinery. It is definitely true. So some of them could have been overzealous and acted. But the questions that I have always wondered is, when he disappeared, when he was abducted, word got to his wife that this is what has happened to your husband. And she did what every other woman could do. She went straight to the barber shop where the husband was supposed to be. And then she was told of what happened. And then she made the report of a missing person only the following day to the police. I wonder why didn't she make it that day or even at least try to find out which police station, if at all it was the police as was alleged, which police station. She didn't do anything. And then the other thing that is also quite puzzling is his phone was actually active and was in use until the following day again. That is, in fact, from after he had been, the actual incident is after he was abducted. He was taken to a truck outside. But because he left the shop in a half, he left his phone behind. And he actually came back into the shop to get his phone alone. Those people who were those who were supposed to be the abductors remained in the car. And then he went into the shop, got his phone, and came back to the car. He did that alone. During that process, he did not call anybody, not even the police, not his wife, not anybody. And from that time, his phone was active. It was actually used that day, and then the following day, he actually made a few phone calls. But he did not call anybody, not his wife, not the police. You know, some of these questions, they really begin to puzzle somebody to say, what exactly is at stake here? Who is involved and what is at stake?
Okay. Unfortunately, this is the wrong perception that we got from his brother, who I spoke to here, if you remember. But I don't know. Basically, I haven't got much time, but so your gut feeling is saying there's something fishy here that happened.
If I was to go and investigate that case, I would look at it in a completely different dimension altogether.
Okay.
And I would approach it in a very open minded. I would adopt a very open-minded approach and make sure that everybody who has questions to answer must answer them. There are quite a number of people who should answer questions here, and then they should tell us what they know. Remember, at one time, even his brother came up with some photos that he
Can I just say something, DJ, there?
Yeah, I was going to come to you. Come on with it.
About his brother in some dungeon. And then when he did not go to the police. It was the police that actually came to him, so that they wanted the source of the pictures, to say, where did you get them from and where could he be? And he actually refused to cooperate with the police. He refused.
Okay.
So I mean,
it looks like Wamoyo, you've got the whole data that we didn't know. Mukoma will bet.
I think it's most unfortunate here that we are looking at a situation here, like you say, DJ, there, of a mother who is saying, my son is missing.
Yes.
And it is for the state to look after the citizens. Even if there was something fishy going on, the state would have got to the bottom of it and said...
And tell the public.
If there was some other it's for the state to find out what happened and come out with the truth. In this particular case, to say the state failed to investigate and to get to the bottom and found the person, and even if he had committed a crime and he was running away or whatever it is, because I think one of the government officials was even saying he has run away to Mozambique or something. The state has got the machinery to carry out the thorough investigation. A poor mother here does not know what happened to her son, and all she wants to know is what happened to my son. And in this particular case, to try to blame the victim, I think this is classical problem with some of these people. They become so powerful, so they think of themselves only, to the point where they cannot do any wrong, and now the victim becomes the criminal. I find it really totally unacceptable. And I think, Moyo, you really, if I was the Dzamara family, I'll find it insulting that you should be even insinuating some of those things. So if you are trying to suggest that he did this deliberately, the state, why haven't they found out? That is why the state is there. It has got all the machinery to find out. In this particular case, there is no vehicle that can be driven, pick up somebody in broad daylight and then the state says, we don't know where he disappeared to. No.
Seguru Pindaitis.
Moyo is not even insinuating kuti pane chikanari chakaitika. Moyo is saying the family has got a lot to do with the Itai's disappearance.
Yeah.
That's so unsavory.
Exactly.
No, I didn't get that. Seguru, repeat that.
Moyo is insinuating that the family of Dzamara has got everything to do with Itai Dzamara's disappearance. And that is unsavory.
Which is a wrong conclusion from what I am saying.
But Wamoyo, inini, I'm not a detective, but gauging from what you have said, I tend to agree in Sekuru that the wife didn't report on the day. This person came back and took the phone. The brother had some pictures and failed to show the police and whatnot. So I'm not a detective, but I gather what Sekuru is saying. I'm leaning towards him.
Ninge, if it was you, Mkoma, you go home and your wife is not there and you are told
you are repeating the same thing right now. You are repeating exactly what you are saying.
Seguru, let me say what I think instead of you telling me what I think.
No, Moyo, you have said it. And what we are saying to you is, you are saying Kuti Mukadzi Wacho must have had something to do with it because she reported the husband missing only the following day. Why didn't she report the same day? Why did the brother Nankiri come up with these photographs and then would not cooperate with the police? Now, it's you insinuating those things. You cannot produce the evidence to show that the wife did not report the case the day it happened. So this is again a situation where it doesn't matter even if she did not, even if you are trying to insinuate that. State's responsibility is to look after all the citizens. And if somebody disappears, it is for the state to find out what happened because they've got the machinery to do so. Even if I was the mother of Itai Dzamara, she hears what her son has disappeared. And she doesn't have the mechanism to find out what happened to him. The state, that's why it is there. We pay taxes for them to look after people.
Okay. Ndikabata imuromo wamoyo musati mataura wamoyo ndikabata imuromo. Handizivi mukoma Tichi na Sekuru na mukoma Wilbert, you might help me. I think once upon a time there was a woman in Dewsbury here in the UK. She wanted to make some money and she gave her daughter to some cousin or something to imprison the child. And then she went to the police to say she had lost her daughter and all that. And the police investigated and she was prosecuted. I'm just saying that even if you try to do something, the state will investigate and incriminate
to the conclusion.
Yeah, to the conclusion of it. Okay, Mamoyo, taura it.
Ninge, what I wanted to say is pane a case yakaenda viral of a lady akafugurwa madrezi nevakomana vemakombi kwaRaro. The case went viral. Everything was recorded. Zviripo pamaningi. Pama videos which went viral. People went to parliament, people demonstrated, people did all sorts of things. The police simply said, please, can you come and make a report to the police station? And then we'll act. People went and made a report to the police station that on a particular day. The very same day the guys were arrested. The people knew them. But unless somebody makes a report, it depends. Of course, there are quite a number of issues.
Because it wasn't reported on the same day.
Sorry?
It was not reported on the same day.
Well, I I'm saying the police said come and make a report. I'm saying the same day it was reported to the police. That is the same day.
How are you relating that to the Dzamara not being reported on the same day?
Okay, what I'm saying is Dzamara disappeared. Let's suppose he was not. Let's suppose it was not the state, or let's suppose it was the state. Let's assume it was the state. But I mean, if somebody had gone and made a report the same day or the following day, it makes a difference. Making a report the same day or
the following day.
Sorry?
They reported the following day.
Well, they reported the following day. But when they reported the following day, his phone was no longer reachable. His phone is gone off.
They reported.
No, I'm not saying that's why they reported.
No, I'm saying that's why they reported.
I'm saying it was now late.
For what?
At Naimoyo. Missing person, they tell you no, but you know, Digley are missing after how long?
What? Okay. In fact, missing person, the moment you sense that somebody is missing, you go and make a report to the police.
So they said the next day, more.
Okay, but this guy was not missing. He was abducted. He was not missing. Somebody missing. That is somebody missing.
That was abducted. He was abducted.
From what happened? From the time
officially after the report, nothing has been done.
Yes. I mean, yes, we can say that. But that's why I was saying, if I was the one investing that case, I could have maybe done it differently.
Suspected the wife, suspected the brother.
It is only saying it's the state responsibility to investigate fully and come up with a conclusion, either make a declaration through an inquest to say that he is presumed dead. The state has not been moving. The state is actually having to respond only to civic society pressure on the matter. And as you said yourself, that let's just assume it is the state that kidnapped him. At the moment, they're acting as though they did, because they're not keen on concluding the case of a missing person who is reported, and there's an official docket on the matter. Why is the government not concluding the issue? Because when a person has been missing for so long, an inquest is conducted and the person is declared dead or presumed dead. And the death certificate is issued unless he surfaces at some point. The state has not done anything to that effect, nor tried to bring it to conclusion.
I think the other issue there, DJ, is that Moyo seems to be denying the fact that this is something that has been happening in Zimbabwe. We are talking of Justine Mukoko. She was adopted, beaten up, kept in isolation, and later on released. The state admitted.
No.
And this is a state that is always abusing authority and power.
Up and down until they found her within the state.
Right. Okay. It's quite disheartening, guys. But I know
should be investigated in some Ngoma Soldier by the state and the family. The state should be providing funds even for an independent investigator to follow up on this and see what can be found out.
Yeah.
Whereas at the moment we all know that government vehicles have got transponders. They know which vehicle was in that area that belongs to the state. They know. Because they're able to put transponders to follow other people's cars. They've got transponders on government cars, especially state security. They do have transponders. So at any given time, if a government vehicle were missing, they would know where that vehicle is. Exactly where. They would know.
No, I mean, from what Amoyo was saying, what I am saying myself is as well, even if Wamoyo has got his, thinking, wakazodai, so family, yakazodai, even if it's your family that has done it, the security, the state should come up and investigate and tell people that actually this is our findings. hama dzake ndo vakakanganisa vakaita zvekuti nezvekuti nezvekuti nezvekuti, saka we are concluding kuti they were in it, they disappeared this person and what not and what not. That hasn't pitched up. Are we agreeing on that?
Exactly. That is what they should have done.
We can't disagree on that. That is a fact.
Okay.
That is what has happened. So this is what I'm saying.
So this is the failure of the state. So are we agreeing this is the failure of the state, Vamoy? Are we agreeing on that?
Yes. Part of, because there must be.
No, there's no part of it. Is it 100% failure of the state here? Yes or no? There's no part of it, is it?
No, I mean, to say 100%, it means it's the state only. That's the 100% you're talking about, is it?
Yeah, but because they haven't done their job. They haven't done their job. Yes.
Do you know, the state, for it to operate, it operates on the evidence, on the clues, not evidence, but clues that are given by the public.
But I mean,
sorry?
So far, is that Yamatraga, a clue?
I don't know.
Well, if you don't know why I'm defending it.
Defending? What did I say to defend anybody here?
Because you are saying anybody? It's not entirely the state.
Yeah, but saying but not entirely does not exonerate it.
No, but it's defense. It's part of a defense when you say they are partially responsible.
Yeah, they are part of the problem.
Are they responsible or not?
It's also we are saying they are totally responsible. We are saying they are partially responsible. So you are defending them in part.
No, not defending them, but stating things as they are. Because as far as I'm concerned, for any case to be successfully concluded, we citizens also have a part to play. Sorry?
Well, question andiri kuvunza ndiye kuti aifana kutsvaga kuti tayaripi ndiani.
Instead
akamutsvaga here?
I don't know.
Saka chinyarara hamuzivi.
Chitaura zvafamba sei?
Handita zvandotaura because handizivi, ndoziva kuti state haisati yatiudza.
Okay, kana imi musingazi matini handizivi saka ndakafanira kunyarara, imi hamuziviwo saka monyarara. It means case closed.
Tinokomplaina. Isa hatidefendi tokomplaina kuti sei state isingatiudzi.
Mukoma moyo zvangu kuti tingobatsirana ndimbonzwa zvangu mukoma moyo vanondinakira. Mati makamboenda kukoti kana munoziva due process. Saka kana muchienda kukoti kureva kuti pakavhurwa docket handiti kukamba kwatovhurwa a prosecution case or a defense case depending nokuti whether you were the one that is being prosecuted or the one that is the complainant. Inopera sei nyaya iyo docket rinozoita sei?
Inopera with the outcome your case as pronounced by the judge.
Saka docket roitwa sei?
Rokuza nemapurisa.
Aye. Docket handiti rinoenda kuCID records roenda via the station kwakasungwa munhu wacho ronoconcludwa rovharwa. Ndokunonzika kuvharwa kunoitwa madocket, then it goes to reside within the National Archives as part of the CID records. Those munhu achizoitwa mapage 1 and the process here is defined at law. So if a docket for the missing Dzamara was opened, due process yakamirira ani?
Due process yakaenda kukoti
kana kuinquest.
Inquest ikoti yo.
Ikoti. Rega ndingotangira pakuti nyaya yakamhan'arwa, docket rikavhurwa, an investigating officer allocated the case.
No, in this case you are dealing with abstract.
No, this is specific. A report was made and the docket opened. It's specific. There's no abstract anything there. This is evidence-based. A case was opened of a missing person alleged to have been abducted by suspected state agents.
But in this case, docket is not really quick, man. It's also as we speak, really good.
Process between pharmacy.
When you say when you are talking in general, and when the process you explain is in general, but we are talking of a specific case.
Why is the docket not progressing? Why is the docket not progressing within the law?
Sorry?
Why is the docket not progressing?
Your line is breaking up. I didn't hear.
Why is the docket not progressing?
I mean, I think every citizen has a right, including yourself, to go and find out the stage or the stage of the case to wherever it is.
Defense to blame because it's not doing its job. And they seem to agree with that simple assertion. A due process was opened by virtue of reporting and the docket and the case number allocated and an investigating officer allocated. That's what is done. Because what happens is that the DISPOL will decide whatever happens next, or the officer in charge of that particular station will allocate to the investigations team the case, and like all other dockets that the teams are given, it has to be investigated, sent to court, concluded, closed. That's how it's all done. In every case, it doesn't matter what nature, how big or how small. And we're only simply saying, at the moment, docket Itai Dzamara raka freeze since it was reported, we haven't had any issues to do with what the state has done in terms of investigating the matter, nor taking it further to say that we can safely now say he can be presumed dead, which is what normally happens if a person disappears and is reported as missing, and after a certain given period, that person is still not been found, because the investigations have looked at all possibilities of where that person could be, and nothing could be found. And then it's presumed that person is dead, so the family can move on and so on and so forth from a legal point. So why hasn't that happened?
Yeah, those are the questions that maybe you need to take to either the police or the court.
Okay. Fine. Okay. Zvisinei ndatenda zvangu varume because tatanga 30 minutes late because of the trouble that I was having with my Skype issues here. We have taken another 36 minutes into the show, so I mean after they are over into other people's shows. But anyhow, thank you so much, Mkoma Teach, Sekuru, and Mkoma Wilbert, and Wamoy there. Sally had said the problem with her, I don't know, her supplier of internet there. I don't know what has happened. I hope she will be with us.
Service provider.
Yeah, service provider. I hope she will be with us next week. It's a shame really that she wasn't here today, because I wanted to hear from the female point of view as well, as we were talking about the women. But anyhow, I want to make this clear that Sekuru and I have made a bet. He's saying that Arsenal are going to finish ahead above Tottenham, and I'm saying Tottenham are going to finish definitely above Arsenal, and tine bet yembudzi inotsika. And I said ndiroda zvangu iri yehadzi isinganhuwi patinoivhiya paya chigotokoto chinondinhuwira. Saka we shall see what happens in May. Sekuru, we don't want no one to back off on this one. Are we on point?
Iyo hauwini muzukuru.
Aiwa, no, it's just kuti titaure vanhu vakateerera, so that when it happens hamuzorambi kundipa mbudzi yangu. That's all.
Ina handirambi, because mbudzi ndinadzo dzakawandisa.
Right.
Ndotohira iwewe kuno Britain hakuna mbudzi.
Aiwa, baba vangu vanondipa mudhara will give me one and I'll pass it to you.
Alright.
Ndinototumira pakeria yebhazi ndoenda ndotokwana.
Ose matene muzukuru. Matene.
Saka tosangana muna Mei.
Tisangana muna Mei.
Mkoma Sodza.
Yes wamoyo.
Mkoma tichi vachiripo.
Vari pa.
Mkoma tichi muripo.
Ndiripo.
Ndakangoti makorokotozve. Ekuti Joyce akazorealize kuti akanga adzingwa uko kwete kuti akanga adzinga but akanga adzingwa instead.
Ndati mozoya neme program. Chamusingaziye Mkoma rega ndingokupindura just kungokufadza izvozvo. Tanga hamuna kana clue what the strategy is. Mukungotaura zvenyu kungopembedza zvamunofunga mufungo wamenyu. Chechipiri kungokubatisai. The first thing was to diminish them by expelling them. The next thing was to make them irrelevant by rebranding. And it's working. And you will see as we progress with it, it's so simple. What is
I want teach you notaura nyaya yekuti yenyu party rei. Ava vachina chinhu vasara vave nebriefcase rakaiwa kuzi Zimfest.
Chekutanga Mkoma moyo vanotozviziva kuti isusu when we rebranded we went to ZEC to withdraw ZIMPF nekuti it had been registered with Joyce Mjuru as the principal and replaced that ZEC documentation with the NPP documentation. So as it is right now, ZIMPF Yanamtasa is not even registered or logged in with the ZEC. They will have to find a new principal and go and submit a new constitution as ZIMPF. So I could not expel anybody other than Mjuru.
The issue panyayo ndekuti nyangwe zvikaita sei ndinobvecha namai vangu akafa Mutasana uyu naguku havafi vakanomira pamberi pevanhu vakati toda kuita rali vakawana vanhu 10.
Make the whole world know about your business.
Aiwa, kose kuri mukurasika basi. Ava ndo vakafoma nini ZIMPF handitika. Ndokuzviona kuti avakunge vari vatungamiri. Ndosa vakazonodhonzawo Mjuru. Kuti iwe yapa umire. Saka ivo vanozviziva and everybody knows. Ivo vanozviziva. And right now,
we have seen better things. We've been to it all. Zimnet Radio all the way.
Vanokotsvaka leader varipo sei. Ivo havatungamiri vanozviziva havakodzere.
Saka ishaisano kai.
Mukati?
Ishaisano.
Yani nani manje?
Yawo kayo. Vakadzingwa.
Ina ndizvo politics kai ndiko zvipindiro papi. Handini andobserva zvangu ndakamira kutachirai.
All right.
Amuka raise a political issue of that magnitude. Then it's to wash your hands with a politician. You are a cowardly politician, guy.
I know you lot. You'll be here all night. Thank you so much. Wana Mkoma tichi mune basa kamangwana mune muda kundoshandira mhuri miregai kusiyei muchindozorora. Tosangana zororai sekuru tosangana china chinotevera.
Kana muna Mei tichinodya mbudzi matsatsa embudzi.
Aiwa ndinokupai sekuru one time.
Sekuru. Muye kuLeicester neSaturday.
Kuneiko kuna Mjuru.
Tikidya mabiko tichicelebrate iconic woman awards.
Aiwa
invite.
Uyai.
Palesa kure kune Birmingham handiti unozviziva ako muzukuru.
Ndinouya address kuye.
Ndinotori in the public domain kune flyer kutenderera vanhu. Kune flyer kutenderera vanhu.
Aiwa ndinokubata wondipa address zvako wondipa post.
Ndakuiona iri pa flyer yacho.
iri paFacebook, iri kutenderera pamawhatsapp groups, and iri mumanewspaper naSouthern Times zvirimo imo.
Aiwa manje mautaura na Facebook chichi ini ndiri mukuru kuna sekuru kava tiri mbiri yakare kuti andombozoti Facebook chi.
Alright,
Ponera tichi.
Aiwa. Ima aikona isemburwa na wamoyo wakakwira ndege 36 hours kuya kuLeicester iwa. Aiwa tibvire.
Arikuedza kumora kavari musori.
Kuzoona Joyce.
Munhu anouya manje ndisekuru is 30 minutes away from Leicester.
Kuti ndichambata mukoma pfepe panapa vanyatsokonfirma kuti vanenge variko here for sure ndo munharaunda mavo.
Mukoma Pepe wati hanzi vari busy nebasa, but I'm sure Mukoma Pepe will come because he lives around there.
Yeah.
Pepe anogara 50, anogara paulso nepandiri panapa. Kana kusina traffic, it is the most is 25 minutes.
That's very good.
A
lot of people are coming there.
All right. Okay. Ndatenda zvangu guys.
Last one.
But kana ukauda kubata Pepe kawotokurumidza because Pepe ane maprotocols. Ka official FDCT saka anotoda clearance ya president.
Haiwa ndikutoswera ndakamubata naye mangwana kuti tibatane.
Ini handidi authority yaani kana yani ndiri kuenda chirwandada kana ndada kuenda kuZANU ndizvo.
But nokutumirai via Skype ningirekeni address.
All right.
Mukoma Tichi.
Yes wakuru.
Mondipirawo sekuru makeni mairewawa please.
Haiwa ndinovapa.
Ndatenda.
Aoni kamuzikonzi kuronga kawo.
Mbudzi still munobvisa mukoma Sodza.
Aiwa. No, wakawina ndinovapa.
Handitazizve Tottenham yaivo 10 points behind ahead of Arsenal last season. Kwasara 5 games. It is a quarter that 10 points vakapesera pa number 5.
I'm top 4.
Zimbabwe tosangana next week ndatenda zvangu. Ndokusira vakateerera mambo kuna Reverend Shanganya hanzi nyika yedu yeZimbabwe.
Koronike 7 verse 14. Kana vanhu vangu vakatumidzwa nezita rangu vakazvininipisa vakanyengetera nokutsvaga chiso changu nokurega nzira dzavo dzakaipa, ipapo ndichanzwa kudenga ndichavakanganwira zvivi zvavo nokupodza nyika yavo. Haleluya. Wafundisi udzai vanhu fundisi udzaiwa noti nyika yaparara fundisi udzaiwa noti nyika yaparara Zimbabwe yose taurira naikani kutemba pane mhoni hazipotembi 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 Nyika yedu Jesu Nyika yedu Jesu Nyika yedu Jesu Nyika yedu Jesu 2018 Indira Jesu 2018 Indira Jesu Indira Jesu 2018 Indira Jesu vanodzvanyirira chiramwe mvura zhinji chanaya vanodzvanyirira chiraimvira mvura zhinji chanaya chidanana cheramwe mvura zhinji chanaya chidanana chiramvira mvura zhinji chanaya Genesis chapter 6 Mwari vaona kuti nyika yaora vanotaura nanuwo vanoti tarira ndichaparadza asi ndisati ndaparadza ndinoda kuti uvake ngarava chitaurira vanhu vakujoine uvake ngarava iwe nemhuri yako ugopinda mairi nezvose zvinofema kuti mugorarama vadikani uyai tivake ngarava uyai tibatane naNoa kuti tichida rugare munyika yaora